Hey guys, it's Kusi. Welcome back to, I guess, the proper episode 5, in which we are going to pick up what we learned from last episode, adapt, and ultimately manage to get past the first pull in the meadery. In this 0 to hero, it finally happened, we finally timed the key. Warlock edition. In the last episode, we not only attempted multiple world records by disbanding the party so fast, Bloodlust was still running, we also met the arguably most sane BM main this game has to offer. But all of that was just a test to measure our patience, because today we are going on a trip. A trip that will include a lesson about mispulls, League of Legends players' mentality, and living proof that the difference of agony and pure pleasure is often just a matter of seconds. Which I'm sure every lady knows. Be that as it may, today I will try to be more positive and to be more respectful towards our party members, as mistakes can happen. Unless you are a complaining little bitch boy ready to throw everything away just because you have your own tiny problems. But in reality, I was already in a better mood because I didn't get Cinderbrew keys so frequently. With that being said, make sure to grab a drink, get comfy, and enjoy episode 5, in which we finally time a plus 12 key. Alrighty, so before I will tell you how we managed to turn the tides in our favor after getting the double shafter in both 12 and 11 meadery, let me say this one thing first. Thank you for all the kind messages during the dire times of last episode. You guys having similar experience or struggles made me feel a lot better about the situation, because honestly, I rarely have those things happening. Probably because I very rarely go beyond 10s in a pucker. With that being said, this is what happened to the 10th Cinderbrew we received at the end. We crushed it. Everyone was pumping, everyone was blasting 2 chests. Now, that was just for some context, so you know why I finally got another 12 that isn't the bee-infested shithole. Dark Flame Cleft. A dungeon that is actually quite easy, but since we are relying on pucks to do the important duties in here, we are doomed. Let's take the first boss area for example. Without the proper tools, this can be a very stressful thing. A DK grip will be your best friend in here, but even if not, you can simply pull whatever you want to play and then kite them back. Keywords: line of sight. This big ass kobold will send a big area of effect that will not only knock players back, but also all enemies within. So kiting them back will ensure that they won't get knocked into the next best pack to potentially wipe your party. The truth is, the timer in this dungeon is so generous that you can just play this part slowly but surely, and you have no need to play 3 or even 4 packs at a time. Trust me. Now, unfortunately, my chat wasn't happy with our tank not dying, and apparently he heard them, so he did an extra special pull to make sure we're on the board. Just because he wanted to make the run slightly faster, we lost 9 lives, equal to 2 minutes 15 because it's a 12. Quick maths! Which essentially meant this was not an easy timer anymore. I'll be damned. Recently I learned how the second boss actually works, which is just a good sign on how well this boss is designed. It's not as straightforward as I thought, since you want to light up as many candles as possible, while also just extinguishing one of them. Those markers will help a lot ensuring a hive mind in this undertaking. Only blow that one out and make sure you aim the remaining ones towards nothingness. The more candles you lit up beforehand, the lesser debuff stacks you get, I think. Look, I'm not entirely sure yet, but I kinda think that's how it works. Now in the end, I got a question. How did I drop that here? It said I got hit by the winds 3 times in that fraction of a second, and I disagree. Okay. On the Candle King, however, I'm still unable to play it proper. And what I mean by that is, stack with the tank. Whenever the rings explode, get your ass back to the tank in order to stack the wax figures as much as possible. It makes everything easier. However, that wasn't really the issue on this fight. On 2 separate occasions, the fear went through, even though one of us always had kickoff. Funny enough, both times the same person that simply didn't kick. Full wipe, this didn't make it easier at all. So we went again with a full belief into timing this, and the Bloodlust. With all that shittery, 18 deaths, and arguably the worst overall from your boy during GFC, we pulled the necessary trash onto the final boss for one more attempt. 3.5 minutes. And then we killed the boss, and we missed trash. 15 seconds overtime. Rough. Rough. In hindsight, I was pleased we didn't time this key, because the tank turned out to be a viewer, and I would have really disliked that outcome. Which brings me to a quick explanation. During stream, I asked specifically not to join. I even put that in my titles when I want to record. Well, if I don't forget it. Guess that's the risk of doing those key levels that barely have any traffic. But I never asked anyone to join. It was also that this week specifically was very dead in those key levels, probably because of the anticipation of the next patch. However, because God is real and God is good, we end up with yet another DFC 12 to rewrite the wrongs. And this time, no shittery during the first boss room. God bless mild tankling and smart decision making. Matter of fact, we played this ridiculously clean up until the Candle Gooner, and here's how insane this timer is. Look at this crap. We got 77% trash, 2 bosses down, and still easily over half the timer. Don't stress in Dark Flame Cleft, man. Just play it normally and you will time this run eventually. With that being said, Candle King became quite a shit show. Some kicks got missed, your boy didn't stack enough, which prompted way too many wax figures to spawn out. I even got stuck while I actually tried to stack up.
Oh, no.
And then the healer showed the first signs of weakness. Instantly admitting defeat, even though we easily can play this again, we just saw that. No worries. Which we didn't even need to. Look man, not a clean kill, but I take whatever I can get. Which brings us to the next part that didn't go as good as one expected. Now, let's look at the facts here. We got close to 10 minutes, one more boss on the way, and we lack 9-ish% trash. Let's also paint the picture here. We had 2 options. Either split this trash in 2, play it safe, and then probably have around 6 minutes for the boss. Or we split it by playing 3 big worms and then take those 2 onto the boss, as they don't really do much besides a dispellable bleed. And if there's only 2, it's more manageable. So we opted for option 3. Fire everything. We looted ourselves 9 deaths that were absolutely unnecessary on many ways. I'm sure the tank knew this was a bad pull as soon as he died. You can absolutely play this, no doubt. But as a tank, you put your faith into the healer, which means you put 50% of the responsibility and the success rate for this play to work out in someone else's hand. Bad move in every situation in life. We easily could have prevented some deaths, but the healer decided to stay semi-AFK to trash talk, instead of releasing and potentially dispelling the tank every now and then. And after all of that crap, we still had an easy 5 minutes for the boss. But our healer decided to go out with the debuff, not healing himself beforehand to drop dead. No CRs available, so we had to reset. Long story short, 5 seconds overtime. Now let's analyze this quickly. Was it the tank's fault for overpulling? Yeah, absolutely. He made that decision. This went south because of that. However, was it the tank's fault for depleting? I say no. I say the healer was so keen on letting everybody know that it's the tank's fault, he refused to play. And if you refuse to play, it's griefing. I'm not even talking about the misplay on the boss, which forced us to reset. That's a mistake, it can happen. I'm purely talking about him being a grumpy muppet instead of playing the game and trying to save the situation in a group effort, like all of us were doing. So in my mind, this was actively griefing someone's key by semi-AFKing during a pull from the healer. Do better, bro. If you're not mentally ready to accept whatever could happen in the key, take a breather and try on a different day. With that being said, you know I was upset. 5 seconds, because of a complainer. But as a good example, I stopped playing for that day, took a breather, and attacked the enemy face first during the very next day. Plus 12 Floodgate, and this was a full pre-med party. They had all I needed in life. A second CR, Bloodlust, Mastery buff, and magic damage increase with tons of CC and grips for those nasty archer mobs that just won't move. Hell yeah, baby. And the tank was so excited he started to share rookery routes. Wasn't worried one bit. What did worry me though was this was the days after the first MDI weekend, and you know people love to do crazy shit to be just like the good players. We also added those 3 shiny spy bots onto our first pull, which didn't look like it was supposed to be like this. And I assume it was the idea to grab them in with a DK, but they kinda just stood there and penetrated our backline.
Are you serious right now, bro?
But not me though, since I decided to stop dying today after I got blown too hard.
Stop it. Get some help.
2 naughty jokes back to back. You know who it is. Unfortunately, my hunter, of course it's a hunter, did an oopsie whoopsie and made sure somebody else gets their ass kicked as well. And that someone was me. Thanks dog. Only God knows why I didn't feed that dude so we got more room to breathe, but lesson learned. Didn't want to use Gateway because I didn't know if you can skip the next pack with it. But because us pulling about 8 mobs in total onto Big Mama wasn't enough for me, I body pulled some more. I could have just teleported off the silencing thingy, but where's the fun in that, am I right?
No?
And then there's the skipping time. Not only did we skip the first big nasty caster, Demon Hunter style, we also skipped Bubbles.
Psych!
Or we tried to. This was legit the only flawed part, because we eventually did manage to skip the final 2 big boys in front of the final boss. That's the first for me, what can I tell you? And thus, ultimately, timing our first plus 12 in form of Floodgate, which I gotta be honest, I was happy about. I expected this one to be the more annoying dungeon to play with pugs, so I was happy this was out of the way. I had no intentions of this dungeon being one of my 13s I have to do. And just because we've seen some of the routes already, we got a rookery to send flying with a new attitude. 12s are on farm now, and nothing can go wrong. It's funny how I say that, actually believe it, and then do dumb shit like this. Because of my death, my damage got tanked hard. Didn't help that the healer took a nap during Gorin, which eventually killed half the party, including me, including my damage. Not even close. But I blame myself for this one non-stop. If you do shitty damage, which includes dying obviously, you get shitty results. At least I didn't get too comfortable with timing 12s, because we end up in yet another attempt to survive the first pull in another brewery 12.
Not another one?
Yes, I still got trauma, and yes, it still hurts. We actually survived the first pull, but of course the tank needed to make things spicy quickly by pulling one hired muscle into Chewie. Not a fan. That dude is a mini-boss for a reason. Play it solo. Funny enough, we did have our tank dying later on during a somewhat nasty pull with 5 seconds on Tomata. That was rough. Rough. And that loss of time drew itself out throughout the whole dungeon. Ultimately combusting during the final trash pull before the Beemaster 3000, in which your boy had trash pulled by its little slaves. I'm still yet not too sure about when the demons actually travel through the portal and when they just walk around it, but I assume it's range. If the portal is long enough and you're not in combat beforehand, they should travel. I think. At least I was in a happy mood after seeing more of the dungeon than just the first 4 trash packs, and surely, this will be the last time we deplete a brewery for this series. Bro, and Priory is still to come? I don't want to do this anymore!